So as we go into this new material, I want to once again bring up this image of the aspects of special mention because that's where we're kicking it all off. So let me just bring this back up again for all of you to look at. Now, really what we're doing, I mean, it's in synchronicity to the exact day. Here we are, May 20th, second square with Venus to Neptune. And this is really framing the whole entire energy, really, of this whole entire session. And we're going to finish the session with the Venus square Mars, like almost period at the end of sentence. And so I just want you to understand that where we're going next, it's in the domain of this particular, these particular set of aspects, which is another way of me saying, look, this is the energy of them and me translating that energy into and through a download that I've amassed here of guided spiritual direction and psycho-spiritual transformation for you. So what we're looking at here with Neptune and Venus and this square energy is this evaluation of what it means to look at your intuitive multisensory system in context to your shadow dualistic perception of life and how you've been conditioned by culture, society, and family through dualism to see the world and how that has also shaped your values. So I hope that's fairly clear for you. Like, image this. You've got the mystical realm, which is what Neptune as an archetype represents. It's mysticism. It is, so let me just qualify this for a second. Anything mystical is beyond the mind. We like to take mystical territory and mentalize it just like we do our emotions, because then it somehow feels like it's more controllable. So one prime example of this is those that like to think that the only mystical law that exists is called the law of attraction. And if I can take all the mystical territory and condense it into one mentalized law that states like attracts like, well, now life just suddenly became a whole hell of a lot more controllable. So I think, because now all I got to do is be positive and all I'll get is positive things into my life. Now, let me ask all of you, has that ever proven to be true for you? Aren't there people drenched in negative vibes having positive things happen? Yes, there are. And how do we define positive anyway? You know, I don't see the quote-unquote evil billionaires suffering much at all. They're doing just fine, and they aren't that positive, if at all. So this is where I want to say to you, just to make a point here, mystical territory is not mental territory per se. We do try to connect our minds to understand it, and this is where we oftentimes end up in the seeker archetype. Seeking answers, seeking the answers to our whys. But let me just say, the mystic archetype is not the seeker. The mystic archetype doesn't want to understand philosophically laws of the universe per se, which is a fabulous, endeavor, one that I love. I'm a seeker. But the mystic just says, you know what I want? I want to be at one with it, with all of it. I don't care to understand anything. I want to experience the oneness and I want to live my life through unity consciousness. That's a mystical statement. And most people even then take that statement and airy-fairy Pollyanna light, love and light it without ever understanding what they just said. You want to live in unity consciousness, do ya? Okay, Judge Judy's coming. Because here's the thing about unity consciousness, that means all of life, the whole entire field, including the most horrific aspects that you could ever imagine of life, are part of that unity you keep talking about. We don't just get to parse out all as one via love and light filters. That's what our mind does. So this is where the mystical territory gets, irrational, illogical. Does it sound logical for me to tell you Hitler was part of God and is part of God? No, we want to with the mind go, oh no, all is one but Hitler. But, sorry, all is one is just what it is. You don't get to, I don't get to decide, well, this is all part of God, but not that. And frankly, when you look at a lot of spirituality and self-help out there, that's exactly what a lot of it says. And it's bullshit. And it's not really in mystical territory. It's in mental ideas of what mystical territory is, not in the territory itself. Now, why does this matter to this retrograde? Because it shaped your whole value system and how you perceive. Did I not just name a lot of how you see the world? Now, you're going to have to stay with me because we're riffing into mystical territory, so it doesn't always make sense to this, but it will here. I promise you by the time I'm done with you and we get to the end, it's going to make absolute sense here. Because this is the only device capable, the only instrument capable of getting a compass in mystical territory. It's your heart. And I'm not talking Hollywood, romantic, blah, blah, heart. I'm talking this is the gritty ass, on the dirt level of life, in the muck, and being with all of it kind of heart. This is the also shattered and broken heart, might I add. So, oh yeah, get ready, boo, because it's coming. Now, that said, as I say these things, this is what you have to do in mystical territory. You have to really kind of ping around. I can't just open it up with a list of shit and tell you what it is through my little outline here. I've got to bring you in through story. I got to bring you in through you getting triggered. I've got to bring you in through your shadow. So a lot of people think, oh no, getting to mystical territory is about transcendence and elevation and just focusing on positive. No, not at all. So I want you to track in yourself right now. And this is me helping you read yourself, remember? This is your intuitive edge. We're reading you. We're reading your system. And most notably, what are we interested in? What is Venus retrograde interested in? She's interested in, hey, I want you to read your duality. I want to read the dualism in your system. Now, there's nothing right or wrong with duality. I'm just saying it has limits. Dual perception has limits. And it certainly isn't intuitive. And that's just all I'm saying. Do we have duality in life? Absolutely. Hot, cold, ugly, pretty, night, day. Go down the list. Evil, good. These exist. I'm not denying that they I'm just saying, if that's the only lens you see life through, whoa. Okay, well, you'll never enter the gate of the heart. You won't. You won't even enter the gate of your own self-love, let alone the gate of the mystical heart, the universal mystical heart, the Christos consciousness, because you can't take your mind with you. You cannot take your mind with you, which means you can't take duality with you, because duality is a facet of thinking and of the mind and of perception. So, self-connection. Let's start to move into this territory. So what I'm after here, remember, is your intuitive multi-sensory system versus your dualistic perceptual system. And in dualistic perception, what we're seeing is through the prism of the filter of the glasses of. There's only either or. Now, riff that out however you want. Like I said, there's only, people are either good or evil. There's only, how about this? If you're in spirituality, you should never bring money in there, because money is only evil. Money's the root of all evil. And the mystical territory looks right back at you and goes, well, don't you think you should give the soul currency? I mean, it's all part of God after all. It all has value. So are you saying that money's not part of God? What are you saying here? And then you watch these people go off and shame people for their rates in the coaching or intuitive arts. And they want to get going in the coaching intuitive arts, and they can't figure out why they can't get lift off and financially resource themselves in those lanes. Because they have this value system that says this gets value, this doesn't. And if you charge for healing, if you charge for the genius you may have in terms of counseling and insight, well, how dare you? But we never bat an eye at what high-powered lawyers charge, or surgeons, or CEOs raking in the multi-millions they do from their bonuses. Or sure, we gruntle around a bit about that maybe, but it's just a gruntle. And this is my point. How do you value yourself? Where are your values, frankly, fucked up here? And not allowing you traction in this new co-creative potential that could be knocking right on your door. Oh, you want to go have a some kind of career calling in the guidance arts? Well, are you going to be okay charging? Because if you're not okay charging money, don't even get out the door yet. You're not ready. You'll be a starving healer just like so many others. Now, I'm not saying there's something to be said about building value over time and building your skill set, building expertise. Yes, absolutely. You got to put in the work to build the value. But that's not going to matter if out the gate you unconsciously in your shadow value system are in duality. What duality am I talking about? Heaven versus earth. That duality. So this is just one example, one layer to get the territory ready for you and for you to begin entering into the mystical heart with me. Because that's what this square energy is saying. It's Neptune having a conversation with Venus retrograde and saying, okay, we got to talk about this shadow duality that many people live through, create through, perceive through to their own detriment, to the own shackling of their potential and their own holding back the love they could give and receive in life. It's, to me, honestly, it's actually absolutely heartbreaking that you would maybe see heaven and earth split up that way. If we gave the soul currency, we would reform this whole entire economy, this whole entire world. Wall Street would be held to a different accountability because the soul would finally be on the line. But we never look over there. We're too busy shaming the healers that want to make money and resource themselves in their work. Boom. So, how do you do this to yourself? Have you done this to other people? I mean, this is just me moving in the territory. This is where we're going with this square. Now, what I'm after here, though, it comes down to this. It comes down to self-connection. How would you define self-connection? Let's start with this. This is good. How do you, just quickly, self-connection means what to you? What does that mean? Now I'm going to give you some examples to get you in the ballpark where I want you to go with this question. Because I want you to track in yourself self-connection. How do you self-connect? So does self-connection to you mean, well, I connect to myself when I stick to my diet. I connect to myself when I keep taking steps every day toward my goals. I connect to myself when I'm always kind or when I'm forgiving of other people. I connect to myself when, and you fill in the blank with, what are you filling in the blank with? Rather, what part are you filling in that blank? How about your perfectionist? So self-connection means I'm connected to myself when I'm perfect. Go into any version of perfection you want, but I'm going to read you right now and go, it's all perfectionism. When I stick to my diet, when I fulfill my goals, okay, hang with me, because that is not actually robust, sustainable self-connection. That's conditional. And see, the thing about self-connection, it's a mystical thing. If we get down to what it really, really ultimately is, it's a mystical thing. Now, there's things I think we can do in life to cultivate self-connection through, yeah, sure, sticking to your diet, attaining goals, whatever. Because that can feed the loop of your esteem with some boost of, I'm doing something that says to myself, I'm worth sticking to my diet. I'm worth exercising. I'm worth staying on track with my goals. I'm worth investing in me. Now that's different. It's a different driver. But the reality is most of us, that's why these New Year's resolutions fall frickin' flat within 2 months. It's because they're not fueled by a mystical force in us. Rather, they're fueled by dualism and us looking at self-connection through dualism and perfectionism. Now, of course, I got a way out of this, but I gotta lay the map down of you. We got to keep mapping here. So track with what I just said, and find yourself in it, and let's move on. Now, Gemini values expressed holistically, and that's the key word, holistically, engender soul connection. So I'm making a pivot here. I'm redefining self-connection. I want you to come with me on this pivot because then we're going mystical. And I'm saying to you, we're not going to call it self-connection anymore. We're going to call it soul connection. You in? You guys in? Because that's where we got to go. Soul connection. Now, I want your mind out of here. Monkey mind, no, we're not bringing dualistic ideas of what even soul connection is. That's at the door. And we'll just give it we'll put it in a love bubble. Okay? We'll put that in a love bubble. But it's not coming with. Because soul connection isn't a mental construct. It's a mystical one. And I got to teach you what that means. So, what does it mean to soul connect? And this is the key, folks. This is the key. If you ever want to get a gauge on how connected to myself am I? And what kind of connection do I got going on here? Is this a perfectionist self-connection? Or am I really in the mystical territory of a soul connection? Now, once again, there's a paradox in here and this is the nature of mysticism. And it's paradoxical. So you got to hang with me, and I hope I land this in your psyche right. But what I'm after here is this. Soul connection. What a soul connection is, it's the capacity of establishing and engaging in an unconditional, that's the word, unconditional, soulful rapport with your power, with your esteem, with your value, with your intuitive system, with all of who you are. So, soul connection is about, oh, I'm in my addict right now. Huh. What brought this online? Oh, I'm triggered. I'm triggered. COVID-19 has me triggered. So my addict's here to manage that. And it's trying to keep me safe and manage my emotional system through the addiction. Notice something here. Let's just say I'm doing this read on myself, and that's the read. I'm in my addict. Notice there's no right or wrong. I'm not making right or wrong, shame-based. What's wrong with me? It's my addict again. What the fuck? I thought I got this done. I'm not saying that. I'm observing a phenomena in my system, that's all. And what does that mean? I'm present. Unconditionally to see what's happening. Oh, I'm in my addict. Here comes that next Frito-Lay. Watch as I take the 5th one. Oh, it's the 20. I'm moving on to Pringles next. Okay. I'm going to wash that down with some whiskey too. Oh, ooh. Look at me go. You're just watching yourself. Without some violent, shame-battering statements of self that you start knocking down. No, it's just, my addict's here. And, okay. What am I going to, now here enters choice. What am I going to do? My addict's here. Am I going to claim I got to get connected to myself? I got to stop this. And go into that whole shame-driven, dualistic notion of self-connection through perfectionism? Or are you simply going to go, God, I just need some more love right now. I just need some more love. I'm in a soul prayer this. So, universe, my addict's here. Pump me full of that mystical, unconditional love. I know you love me no matter what. The truth is, this is just karmically not fun. There are consequences of being inside active addiction that I've never liked. And that's just what's true. But I'm here, I'm with me. Okay, how can I love myself in this moment more? Notice I did not even go near how do I stop the addiction. No. All I'm saying is, wow, I need to take care of me, and first step first, accept me, love me, be present to me right here, right now, even as I take that next drink. If you don't get there, folks, into that space, or let's say you're really a recovering alcoholic. Oh my gosh, I'm about ready to have a drink. I think I need that unconditional support I get from my sponsor. What does a sponsor ultimately do? They sponsor unconditional presence and unconditional love that you in that moment cannot generate for yourself. That's what sponsorship really is, if done mystically. It's, I'm going to sponsor for you right now this unconditional presence with yourself that you can't seem to manage. I'm here for you no matter what. And just call me, we'll talk. I'm here. What I'm after is, can you be that sponsor to yourself? And if you can't, can you delegate someone in your life that you love, know, and trust to say, listen, I can't always activate in myself unconditional presence and love. And I need sometimes for you to remind me of my soul esteem. I need you to let me know I'm enough no matter what I do, whether I'm in addiction or not. I just need you to sponsor, to hold this space for me during these triggering times. And if they are activated in what really it means to be a sponsor, they'll be there for you. And this comes back to, okay, do I sponsor that is what soul connection is. It is, I'm with myself no matter what. I fuck up, I don't. I do great, I don't. I'm still me. I'm still here. If you're not with you, then, that's a dangerous place to be. It's the most vulnerable place you'll ever be in your life. When you're in self-abandonment, it doesn't get more vulnerable. It doesn't get more scary. It doesn't get more reckless. It doesn't get more lost. And I'm telling you, soul connection, coming back to yourself, is just one unconditional self-loving hug away. Even if you're still actively in the addict, this is the most powerful first move you can take. Any other moves beyond this first, you want to look alive to the dualistic, perfectionist-driven, shame-infected mind, and knowing that it's driving things. It's very likely driving things. So one of the beauties of this Venus retrograde, one of the, I think, if not one of the most amazing gifts it's going to give you, if you're willing to receive it, is everything I just said. That there's nothing to do when it comes to being in a soul connection with yourself other than accept where you're at, what's happening in your system, right here, right now, being with all the emotions present the best you can, and knowing you're enough. And in soul praying, reaching out to your soul sponsors. Let's call them soul sponsors. I love that. Your soul sponsors, and say, listen, hey, I need a little soul up in here. I'm forgetting who I am. I am being seduced by dualism, perfectionism, and shame. Can you help me out? And I'm managing it with my addiction. I'm managing it with my codependency. I'm managing it with my perfectionism. Managing it with my blaming others, my denial, my self-sabotage. Can you help me out? I really pray for all of you that you do have someone like that in your life. And if you don't, I'm your person, okay? I'm your person. If you don't have someone to tell you that you're enough right now, no matter what happens, just come to me. Come back to this membership and play this again and just know I mean that. I know that's how I read this in you. You're enough. It doesn't matter what rogue patterns rocking your boat right now. just come back to the shore of the soul. That's it. There's nothing to do other than all right, I'm going to hug myself. Robert has soul sponsored me. So I'm going to come back to me. Whew, yeah.